Singapore and Malaysia Tzu Chi volunteers host several events to celebrate the holiday with care recipients. Experts give opinion about the sayings of high blood pressure medicine will cause kidney damages. Welcome to the headlines. I'm Maggie Tai. Thank you for joining us. The Chinese Lunar New Year is at the corner. Singapore and Malaysia Batu Pahat Tzu Chi volunteers hosted year-end distributions for care recipients at a different location. Volunteers prepare festive food for everyone to enjoy a happy holiday. Singapore Tzu Chi chapters hosted 2 Lunar New Year charity distributions in the morning and afternoon. More than 400 care recipients and their family gathered to celebrate the holiday in advance. The onstage couple's wife received Tzu Chi's short-term dialysis subsidies last year. Now that they can be independent, she has carried a heart to give back to perform on the stage.
I normally do performance job with pace, but today this one is different. It means different to me because I'm here to give off and share my music at the same time.
Care recipients are enjoying the show while receiving service from volunteers. Everyone feels joyful.
Thank
you for helping me every month and bring me encouragement and power.
I can't help bursting into tears when speaking of Tzu Chi because they've helped me and my husband greatly. They really were very kind to us.
Turn the camera to Malaysia. Here in Batu Pahat, volunteers hosted a year-end distribution at a local school. There was a free haircut area and many hairstylists came to render services.
It's the end of the year and every hairstylist is very busy, so I try to make time to come. I hope everyone is happy.
We know how to cut hair, so we should come to serve people in need. I'm happy as long as they're happy.
At the gathering, a care recipient also gave thanks to Tzu Chi volunteers for the love and companionships to her family in the past year.
During my most helpless moment, Tzu Chi has given me a hand and helped my entire family to face the difficulties and ease our burdens. I'm very grateful.
Volunteer support and many philanthropist assistants have given these impoverished families strength and courage to face challenges ahead. In Jiangsu's Siyang, there is a former scholarship recipient, Tzu Chi, who comes from a farming background and experienced her parents' divorce at a young age. Huang also suffered 2 major illnesses and was about to give up on life if Tzu Chi hadn't stepped in to support her. Medical needs, now Huang has matured into a mother and finally has a lovely warm home she's been wishing for a long time.
Tzu Chi volunteers are visiting Tzu Chi, a graduate of Siyang's Shafei Technical Secondary School. Huang and Tzu Chi volunteers have known each other for 8 years now. She and her child welcome the volunteers at the door. Upon entering her home, the volunteers feel the warmth of the family as they see displays of the couple's wedding photos. Huang's husband works in a wood factory and brings in sufficient salary to keep the family secure. The volunteers can't help but compare to their visits at the beginning in the small farming community when Huang was wishing for a family of her own because she didn't have that parental love and care.
Tzu
Chi and her grandmother are very close. When we visit, we would always see her holding onto her grandmother. When we would ask about her family situation, like her mother and father, she would say nothing but just cry. It was later on through her teacher we found out that because her father committed a crime and is in jail, so her mother left.
During her educational path, Huang also experienced 2 major illnesses, which is like a death note for the impoverished.
I had problems with my spine and it really broke me. Sometimes the pain was unbearable and I wondered if I could make it another day. Thankfully, the volunteers helped me. That's how I'm here today and can have my own home, my own children.
我才会像今天一样可以站着，可
Tzu Chi's support helped her get through her bad days. Huang also saves some money each day to help others less fortunate. During a recent Send Love in the Winter event, Huang even shared her story to encourage others.
Students, although life is difficult and painful now, but in the future you will receive your own happiness. Do you know that?
This is my second time receiving help from Tzu Chi, and I have felt what it is like to be loved and cared for. I want to say to the volunteers that I like you very much, and I will start from recycling, like other volunteers, to help those in need of assistance.
If I have the chance in the future, I want to join this type of charity organization. It feels good to gain happiness while helping others.
Sending love in the winter warms up everyone's heart by filling it with hope and blessings.
This year's Taiwan Lantern Festival will be hosted in Taichung Houli. Taichung City volunteers worked as a team to finish the setup of the venue within a month and a half. Let's see how they used 300 PET bottles to make a light wall. A big truck of PET bottles were delivered to the venue of the Lantern Festival. These dried PET bottles can be used wisely.
We've measured them so you can't leave them loose. You need to put in effort. Even if it might hurt my hands, it's more important that it looks good.
They used the iron sticks to make the frame first, and then put in the PET bottles, making it a light wall.
This fixes perfectly. The volunteers really did a great job.
Volunteers tried to make the PET bottles fit tighter and neater.
Now I can't pull it in, but pull it once again and it's in.
The light wall consisted of about 3,000 PET bottles with Jingzi aphorisms on it.
There will be Jingzi aphorisms on the PET bottle light wall, which says to learn, cherish, and receive blessings. We wish to remind the visitors to cherish resources once they see the aphorisms.
Through light reflections, it can create a very nice ambiance.
These recycled PET bottles were reused to be the major lighting system this year.
The Lantern Festival's theme is to coexist with the earth. The main light is brought from the floral exhibition by us, so that people can know that we can make an earth with PET bottles.
Tzu Chi will participate in the Taiwan Lantern Festival, and we invite the public to come to see the beautiful light decorations made by recycled materials. According to the Ministry of Health and Welfare, 1/4 of the adults in Taiwan have high blood pressure problems. Many of them take high blood pressure medications to control their condition. However, there is a rumor saying that high blood pressure medications could damage the kidneys. Is it correct? Let's find out in our next report.
A lot of people in Taiwan undergo dialysis treatment, and there are many people suffering from high blood pressure. According to the Ministry of Health and Welfare, about 1.5 million people in Taiwan are taking high blood pressure medications. There's a rumor saying that taking high blood pressure medications for the long term will damage the kidneys, leading to kidney failure.
I've heard the radio commercials, but I do not know if they are true.
I've never heard of it. I take the medication according to the doctor's advice.
While taking high blood pressure medication really damage the kidneys, let's listen to the experts' advice.
The saying mixes the causal relationship. According to our experience, if the patients do not control their blood pressure, their artery walls will harden. When that happens, the patient's important organs will be damaged, including the kidneys.
In fact, what really damages the kidneys are the medicines that patients buy without the doctor's prescription.
Things that contain aristolic acids will damage the functions of the kidneys. In Western medicine, some painkillers, especially non-steroid painkillers, will damage the patient's kidneys in the long term.
High blood pressure is also known as the silent killer. Doctors suggest patients take medication regularly to maintain their blood pressure at 120 and 80 mmHg range. If the patients cannot control the blood pressure after taking medications, they should consult the doctors instead of adjusting the medications.
Ho Soo-wen, who is 25 years old, is a nurse serving at Tzu Chi Butterworth Dialysis Center. She chose to be a nurse so she could have the opportunity to give her love to others. She became a Tzu Chi and received lots of care from volunteers, inspiring her to pass on the love to more people.
My sister-in-law's mother is a nurse. She asked me why I didn't want to try being a nurse. I thought about what a nurse was and got the idea that being a nurse could be the job that I desire. I don't think it's too hard. I simply hope I can contribute my effort to help patients.
In the Butterworth Dialysis Center, Ho Soo-wen is always smiling. When visiting patients, she feels like she is visiting relatives.
I think she is very warm, just like one of our family. Every time when we go to Tzu Chi, she will tell me about my husband.
We do not only talk about their condition or their dialysis status. We'll talk about how they're doing with their kids, where they're going. We want to share with each other.
Treating patients as family is not just a professional accomplishment. When she was in school, she became a teaching, which impressed her a lot.
I was sponsored by Tzu Chi as a scholarship student, and there were a lot of volunteers sending love to us.
Especially these years, she is far away from home for studying and working. To her, this love is the warmest, making her willing to pay back. After work, she has enrolled in a bachelor degree course with a goal of providing better services to patients.
I explain to them the knowledge I learned and make them understand how to take care of their own body. Then they will get better.
She hasn't forgotten her initial aspiration, accomplishing her dreams and making her more powerful.
Now we continue to look back at Tzu Chi's major events that took place in both July and August of 2019.
In July, a church Tzu Chi helped rebuild in Ecuador was inaugurated.
La sabiduría del budismo, que también evidentemente ayuda a crecer al ser humano, lo recibimos nosotros.
Be it the earthquake in 2016 or the flooding in 2017, Tzu Chi volunteers were there to help.
Aparte de la obra material, un gran ejemplo, una gran lección que nos deja la Fundación Tzu Chi, de que juntos, de que unidos podemos lograr mucho.
Un agradecimiento grande a la Fundación Tzu Chi y en especial al corazón de la maestra
In July, Tzu Chi held large-scale free clinics in Jordan.
الله يطول في عمركم ويجزيكم الخير.
دكتور هادي كثير هادي كثير راقي. نحن بنقول له بالعربية روحه طويلة. روحه طويلة.
As the temperature reached 40 degrees Celsius, Tzu Chi volunteers used cardboard to fan the doctors.
الفريق تبع تزو تشي يعني ما قصروا، نفس الناس صاروا يمسكوا ألواح ويساعدونا أيضا زي المراوح. استخدموا الألواح والكراتين للتبريد علينا كأنها مراوح يعني.
The baby was born with 6 fingers on each hand. As she is only 3 months old, the medical team set aside a special time and paid close attention to every detail when performing surgery to remove her extra fingers. Affirmed by the Jordanian government for its contribution to the country, in 2019, Tzu Chi was allowed to register as an INGO in Jordan. In July, in the wake of floods triggered by torrential rain in Fujian, China, Tzu Chi volunteers brought aid and care to those affected.
你来的时候会不会怕？
赶紧先把这个吃了。
要来帮忙，没事。
3 months later, Tzu Chi broke ground to build houses for the flood victims.
在我县最困难、最需帮助的时候，慈济慈善事业基金会及时送上温暖。
这次有新房子住，高兴吗？
Touched by Tzu Chi, many locals were inspired to give.
我也有这个啊，像我们也一样，能力帮助大家。
In August, Tzu Chi held a concert to observe the 10th anniversary of Typhoon Morakot. In 2009, Typhoon Morakot wrought havoc in southern Taiwan. An entire town was buried by a landslide. Tzu Chi volunteers quickly poured into southern Taiwan and even transported heavy machinery down south to help clean up the disaster areas. At the same time, Tzu Chi also began to build permanent houses for Morakot survivors. In just 88 days, the first batch of over 700 houses was completed.
Forests are rich in resources and there are many types. Forest byproducts such as beekeeping and a good place to grow shiitake mushrooms. However, the development of Taiwan's forest land has a lot of negative impressions, which causes many people to worry as there is a way to coexist which is environmentally friendly.
这边都是我的，这边过来对面山都是我们刚才从那边刚开始的布局往里跨。
Winding along this industrial road in Shuangxi District, New Taipei City, is Shuqingdianshan, with 45 hectares of forest land. There's Lu Tongwei and Zitengzi's forestation area, where many years ago he started planting shiitake mushrooms in the forest. The mist in the mountains is natural. The temperature difference between day and night is large. The quality of shiitake mushrooms exceeds that of those grown in the plains.
像这个就很漂亮，厚度又够。
Lu Tongwei shiitake mushrooms can be sold for up to $60 per Taiwan catty, which is 1.6 to 2 times as much as shiitake mushrooms from the plains. The economic outlook for forest products is promising. In 2019, the Forestry Bureau started to promote economic policies for the development of forests. At this stage, shiitake mushrooms and wood fungus, Taiwan Anoctocolis clematis, and forest honey are open for development.
Before harvest, we can provide some subsidies for these farming families to use so they can maintain their forest land.
Beginning in 2018, the Forestry Bureau will first conduct trials with wild honeybees cultivated by the Sasiat tribe in Penglei Village, Nanzhuang Township, Miaoli County.
大概只有15哦。哇，这好香哦。
After 9 months, they mastered the ecology and habits of bees. They have been able to prevent hornets from attacking bees. In June 2019, the first production of 10 kilograms of forest honey with a moisture content of less than 20% was worth more than $6,000.
The forest economy is something that can unite us together and give us help for the future.
The forest economy is starting, and whether it's beekeeping or growing shiitake mushrooms, wood is all indispensable, but the source and cost all require our attention.
This is the wood needed for anectochilus, which needs to be stronger, and this more acidic wood is more suitable for shiitake mushrooms.
Anoctocolis, Phoebe-Zenan, and stones are neatly arranged. They're all taken from Lu Zhongwei's own forest. He has been planting forests for 36 years and has no shortage of wood sources. However, in the early days, the Forestry Bureau often investigated him.
他怕说我们会不会踩到
They were afraid in the beginning of the Forestry Bureau, for there may not be enough wood, and they would use their forests to collect this wood for their special farming purposes.
可以做椴木使用的木头。
How high is the cost of wood? Take 3,000 square meters as an example. For the first time to grow shiitake mushrooms, it takes 20 tons of wood with a cost of about $5,000. For small farmers in the forest, this can be expensive, causing the Forestry Bureau to be worried about the possibility of illegal logging. This is also the concern of many people about restarting forestry business. Illegal logging cases appear in Taiwan every year. In 2011, it reached a peak of 370 cases, and precious timber worth millions of dollars have disappeared. Forest farms may not require precious timber, but it is still important to prevent similar incidents in the future and prevent legal cover for illegal activities. The floods of August 7, 1959, Typhoon Gloria in 1963, and Typhoon Herb in 1996 caused a total of 1,460 deaths and disappearances, with economic losses of $1.2 billion. This painful lesson made the government realize the importance of soil and water conservation and launch a national forestation policy. This meant that Taiwan's forest economy had to take a back seat.
Tree farms can't make money, so many local farmers cut down trees to grow tea, betel nut, or other short-term crops to make money.
Li Kencheng pointed out that the total area of land in Taiwan that should have forest covering, but is actually farmland, is about 52,854 hectares. This makes it hard to ban the practice. 2019, an upgrade version of the Forest Economy Plan doesn't want to make the same historical mistake.
The three types of farming are permitted in the forest. If there are any violations, we can immediately handle it. This is easier. We first test whether our rule of law and the on-site execution match. If it does not, we can immediately correct it.
The authorities are careful to avoid restarting forestry economy at the expense of and hurting forest land. Economic production and ecology need to be balanced.
We are moving towards the so-called ecological and organic development. It's not just about bees.
This tribal elder, Gen Ziyou, worked hard to explain ecology and local culture to tourists and then linked it to forest products. The response has been warm, and the economic activity has the opportunity to start a virtuous cycle.
Local residents now want to raise bees. They want to improve the local ecology and also want to replace the traditional agricultural method of spraying pesticides.
The plants in the forest contain a lot of biodiversity, so it is a challenge to raise forest honeybees.
Our young people must inherit our knowledge and must know how our bees are raised. It is part of our culture.
The fate of Taiwan's forests over the past century has cast a shadow over the development of local industry. However, if forest economies can be promoted at the same time, then more people will take an interest in preserving the ecology and seeking more balance in the future.
Malaysia cadets and volunteers hosted 2-year and blessing ceremonies, and over 600 people joined to celebrate the new year together. Take a look and see you next time.